Listen to the whisper of the universe. Hear the pomegranate of the universe.
Hi folks, welcome back to our channel. Thanks for tuning in. I am Cassidy the Cardslinger, and today we are going to take a look at two Earthy Oracle decks from my collection. The first one here on the left, this is the Mystical Shaman Oracle. This is done by Alberto Villoldo, Collette Baron-Reid and Marcela Lobos, and it's produced by Hay House. And on the right here we have the Illuminated Earth Oracle. This is an independently created and published deck by Claire Mack. So yeah, these are, when I was looking in my collection to do a couple of Oracle decks for a comparison, I was just seeing, you know, what are kind of similar that read similarly or are used in similar ways, and I came up with these two. So quickly, just taking a look at the box here, the cards themselves, each of these aren't just a slip on there. The card sizes are fairly similar, so it's really nice. This box that it comes in is really fantastic. And you go ahead and open this up, and here, so on the side, bloop, it says, "Before there was time, before there was language, there were the sacred symbols." It's beautiful. So it comes with this really nice guidebook, actually. It's, how many pages is this? 139 pages. And it has all of the different cards. It has for each one the essence of the card, the invitation, which is reading it upright, or the medicine if it comes up in reverse. And it's a really well written book. I really like that to accompany it. The littler box, and now we are down to a bit smaller size, so I can zoom right in, and here is this box. So it's a two-part tuck box, and these are the cards. So here we go, and then the Illuminated Earth Oracle. It's not going to take me nearly as long to unbox. It's just a really nice sturdy two-part box. And we'll plop this out here. Great. So it's not like they have exactly the same cards by any means, although they both do have elemental cards, so fire, earth, air, water cards, which was largely in part why I decided to put these two side by side. So I probably won't bother flipping through them individually, but you can just kind of see, you know, similar kind of color palette, almost. It's not not similar artwork necessarily, but you can kind of see where I'm going with this, in terms of the similar energy that both of these decks have. So without further ado, let's dive into the Mystical Shaman Oracle first. I'll just do a quick flip through so you can see all of the cards. deck, and I don't think I mentioned that, but this deck has 64 cards, and the Illuminated Earth Oracle here has 63. And I will just have a quick word about the backs of the cards, I guess, before we switch over. They're really beautiful. Neither of them are fully reversible. Obviously, we have the geometric pattern here. It's not too bad if you're someone who will not read with a back that is not reversible. And here the main giveaway is sort of the yellow arrow that points to the top of the card. So now let's take a look at this deck. And these ones aren't numbered, so these aren't in any particular order. So that is a flip through of the Illuminated Earth Oracle. So I find these both to be very well-rounded decks. So in that sense, you'll see sort of repeated themes, either, you know, they're not exactly the same card necessarily, or have the same name, because both have either, in the case of the Illuminated Earth Oracle, just a single word, but the Mystical Shaman sometimes has two. So here are just a couple of, so it wouldn't be a comparison video, I guess, if I didn't have two side by side. So, you know, here are both of the fire cards from each of the decks. And here are both of the earth cards. And, you know, we just saw all these, but it's just kind of showing a little bit more of a stark comparison based on the cards that are actually the same. I love both of these water cards. I think they're gorgeous. And then here is the moon card. but it kind of reminds me of the Transient card, if we're just looking strictly by imagery there. But yeah, in saying, you know, they're very well-rounded decks. You know, for example, the Hangman card was absolutely haunting me for a while, and I ended up pulling out this deck and drawing the Standstill card. So if you are someone who also believes that the tarot kind of is able to bring forth every experience, everything, you know, then you would see in a well-rounded oracle deck pretty much all experiences reflected as well. But yeah, that being said, I do find they read very similarly. In terms of the Illuminated Earth Oracle, of course, there's no guidebook, so that can be a bit challenging if you're someone who doesn't really work with keywords, and certainly some of the imagery is rather abstract. It's really beautiful. I adore Claire Mack's art. It's so various. Like, she has both of the, I guess, more earthy, abstract sort of cards, but then she has these ones that have, you know, people in them, and the drawings are just really, really magnificent. I mean, I adore that artwork. And the artwork in the Mystical Shaman is beautiful as well. Like the Thunder, that's one of my favorite cards. I mean, just look at that. The color, it's done very, very well. And I hope from this you can kind of see how I have chosen these as similar type decks. But yeah, these I would say are both of my Earthy Oracle decks. I don't believe I have any other ones. If I did, take a look at my future flip through videos. But yeah, I do find that they read quite similarly, and I said, yeah, so if you are someone who needs a guidebook or prefers to have a little bit more context, I would highly recommend the Mystical Shaman Oracle. Or if you're someone who reads more intuitively or can work really well with single words or power words, or just, you know, this artwork really speaks to you, this is a super, super beautiful deck. And a kind of a neat story how I acquired this deck. I'll just share this quickly. So I was heading over to Seattle, this was a few years ago now, for a conference. And let this be known that I have never driven across the border. I'm up in Canada by myself. So it's not like I'm usually over there. This was a very happenstance occurrence. And I follow Claire Mack on Instagram, and she had posted in her story that she was doing a fair, like a craft fair, at a center just outside of Seattle. And I ended up missing a ferry, so I had to drive to a different ferry, and I was going to a totally different port than I was originally planning to. And when I was on the other ferry, I just looked up where she happened to be. And lo and behold, between where I was getting off the ferry and where I was staying for the night, going a straight travel versus stopping by the craft fair was maybe only about 10 minutes off of my journey. Like, you know, it was just amazing, because I'd had this deck in my cart on Etsy for a very long time. But for some reason, anytime, you know, I want to order something from the United States into Canada, shipping is crazy. And then there's import charges and yada yada. So when you want a deck from internationally, you always have to think about those considerations. But it was very, very neat how I ended up getting this deck, because I'd wanted it for a long time, and just happened to check her Instagram, and I happened to be on the wrong ferry, and it was just so many things fell into place for me to get that deck. And it was very cool because I got to meet her at her stall with all of her beautiful artwork and things she was selling when I picked up the deck. I'm kicking my butt I didn't ask her to sign it, because that would have been really cool. A very neat experience. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to keep this one fairly short. Let me know if you have either of these decks. The Mystical Shaman Oracle is a Hay House deck, so it's available through, you know, your major retailers. The Illuminated Earth Oracle, as far as I know, is only available on Claire Mack's Etsy, which I'll put the link for that below, as well as our Amazon links if you are an Amazon person for the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say on these. Let me know in the comments what you think about these decks. Did one speak to you more than the other? Do you have any other Earthy Oracle decks that you like or would recommend? Because I really like working with Earthy and Earth-centered decks. So anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you for engaging with us. Please like, subscribe and share. To book a personal, in-depth reading, And to learn more about our incredible courses in tarot and astrology, please visit our website www.thepomegranate.grove.com.